This is the big question that exercises, anybody who's engaged in the study of democracy. And you're quite right that one of the major challenges that democracies are facing is this kind of shift in the balance of political forces globally towards authoritarian regimes. Democracies are on the back foot, also because of their own internal failings, so failing to deliver, facing a groundswell of voter discontent because of those failings. So let's talk about underlying causes, because we can see what's happening, but it's not enough to just describe what is happening. We need to try and come up with some explanations. So in terms of the autocracies being in the ascendant, that is a striking trend in our own index over the past decade or so. Now, according to our index, there's still more countries that are classified as democratic than authoritarian. So of the countries that we cover, 71 are still classified as democracies versus 60 as authoritarian regimes. So we also have 36 hybrid regimes, which is the kind of grey zone between democracies and autocracies. But there's no doubt that the number of democracies has been shrinking over the past decade, down by 5 since 2014, and the number of authoritarian regimes have been growing. I think it's very clear what is going on here, that most of the decline is because of authoritarian regimes becoming more authoritarian, more entrenched, and because of countries that are classified as hybrid regimes slipping into the authoritarian regime category. So what are the drivers of that? I think, first of all, war and conflict. We've seen an upsurge of different types of conflict in recent years. I mean, there's certainly in the past few years, we see a spike. First of all, in interstate conflict. So the war in Ukraine obviously had a big impact in terms of what's happening politically in Russia, but also in Ukraine. War and conflict in now the Middle East in terms of interstate conflicts, and we have others. But there's also a huge increase in intrastate conflict, so internal conflict, civil wars, state breakdown, and so on. We see that, for example, in Africa. So war and conflict is something, a major challenge, obviously, for sovereignty and democracy. And we see non-state actors also presenting a big challenge to democratic regimes. Say Latin America, the whole kind of nexus of organized crime is a major challenge for countries in that region. Other reasons for this trend, I think that China and Russia and others in the authoritarian camp are wooing many countries to try and bring them over to their side. I think we've also seen major setbacks of pro-democracy movements over many years, starting maybe with the Arab Spring, which led to disenchantment, demobilization, cynicism. So there's a multitude of factors here driving that trend. But the other side of the coin, obviously, is that democracies themselves are struggling because of their own internal failings. And I can spend some time talking about that, because I think actually that is the major challenge. I think there's a recognition that democracies are not delivering. There's widespread popular discontent with political systems. Every single survey by Gallup, by Pew, by the World Values Survey, others show that disaffection is widespread, deep-seated and is fueling support for political insurgents, populist movements, populist parties, and also for non-democratic alternatives too. And again, we can debate what is going on here, because there is little clarity or agreement about what is driving this popular disaffection. But I think we can try and break down the reasons, what are the drivers of this pervasive discontent. So I'll let you get a question in rather than just launch into that, but we can discuss that, because I think it's the most important challenge, actually.